So, hi everyone. We are back for part two. We got cut off last night, but we wanted to finish up what we started. So,
Hey,
Tone is back.
what's going on? What's going on? How y'all doing today, ladies and gentlemen? Part two.
Part two. So, we was just having a conversation. I told him to hold it off because I wanted us to do this on here because it's something that needs to be done. First, when the Most High told me about this, he said that we always focus on people in the swap, but we don't think about his other children. And how can we be united as one if we don't even talk to the other children, or even bring them, even share the knowledge that he gave us, or even try to help wake them up to the things that he's revealed to a lot of us. We always dim people and look down on them. So when he brought this to me, I'm like, perfect. And then it was just like Sunday, he was like, hit Cuzzo up. And I'm like, let me hit him up. Because I'm like, that's the perfect person. I was literally sitting here watching Selma with the story about Martin Luther King. And he literally told me to hit you up. And that's when I hit you up right then and there.
Wow.
I was like, so I had to be obedient. And just shows that it's working out. So
that's a blessing. That's a blessing. Yeah, and I'm just, grateful that you even allowed me to, that God even put it on your spirit to reach out to me. Because like I just be just doing what I feel is right, just doing me. And like how we were saying before, with the bridging the gap, it's like, who do you listen to? Because it's people that call themselves Hebrew Israelites, but all they talking is hate speech, And then it's the Christians and other people that all they talking about is turn the other cheek, Martin Luther King. And then it's people like me, like, man, it got to be a balance. Like, it got to be some more. And then, it's eye for an eye. I believe in the Old Testament, that, I had a right to defend my stuff. And it's crazy because I was talking to even some people who I didn't expect for them to say, burn the city down. Like, burn. And it was like, and they brought up a good point, or a valid point, like, from a purchasing point of view. Like, this, like, all we did was just get the stuff that wasn't ours. And now we got the opportunity to, put businesses in there. But is that a realistic thing? That's something that we got to do. Like, and I understand that people want to riot and they want to protest, and they're tired and enough is enough. But like how we spoke on part one, we got to have, it's like, what if you're doing it for the right reasons, but you also got to know that you got to have common sense to know that this is God's plan. So we gonna experience a lot more, and I'm just trying to see how we go act as it keeps going. Because right now, it looks like chaos. I'm calm, like how we said yesterday. You will not be calm in the chaos, but eventually we gotta find some type of order, and people gotta have a purpose, and they gotta be standing on something.
yeah.
Even
and
if
it's interesting you said that about his plan, because then it goes back to something that I think everybody is sweeping the elephant under the room is, what about the church? The church has been quiet about coronavirus. The pastors ain't nobody healing nothing. They telling everybody stay at home. They not really doing nothing, with everybody going crazy right now with the looting and stuff. Where the pastors, they supposed to be so-called be the anointed ones, but where are they at? They not doing nothing. And it's crazy because the problem with a lot of people, why they can't understand, is because they're listening to man. The biggest problem and the big takeaway from all of this is, I always go back to Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trusting Yah with all thy heart. Stop trusting on man and start trusting in him. Because that's why our path is so messed up, because we're not trusting in him and letting him direct our path and leaning on him for understanding. Instead, we listening to everybody else and not him. And that's why we self-destructing. There's no order in I don't care what part of the city you on, what state you in. It's like there's no order. And the ones that were so-called called for order, they disappeared. Yeah. But they still can collect tabs every Sunday. They can still tell people to give your money and stuff, but where are they at right now?
Exactly.
They're gone.
They still want us to give money. And that's the crazy part. Like, if the church is closed and we're supposed to be paying tithes for you know, the utilities of the church, we shouldn't really have bills, but we should still be asking for tithes because church been closed for a few months now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're not helping, like, people. I'm sitting up there watching people.
Now they should be collecting tithes. Yeah, now this is the time. Like, we go collect tithes, we just go collect and we're gonna redistribute it to the actual congregation. You know, like that makes sense. Like, you know, there's people in the churches, and I'm pretty sure, you know, because the church is a building. So, and there's all different walks of life in the building. So, you know, everybody who got some money, they tithe different than the people who don't. Well, I think that what the churches need to be doing is taking them tithes and redistributing them back into the communities, back into the actual church congregations. You know what I mean? Like, everybody know the family in the church is struggling. Let's give some of that tithe to them. You know, because they actually got bills and because exactly, and they actually got bills and stuff that's still going on. Like, with the quarantine and everything that's going on, we shouldn't even been having no church bills. Why do we got a high water bill? Why do we got a high light bill?
Because it's a business. People don't realize church is a business at the end of the day, and that's why if people read their Bibles, it tells you that church and state is not supposed to mix. Yeah. But the church is owned by the state.
And it's a very good point that you bring that up, because isn't it crazy how the politics of now hooked up with major pastors, and now it's like you can't. I know when it's a political circuit, because that's when we start getting the political visitors at the churches. You know, and then now all of a sudden the pastor and this politician are supposed to be good friends and haven't supposed to been going back so far, but you know, like, and I'm gonna just keep it 100. I'm gonna call out names. I'm talking about Pastor Corey Brooks and Pastor Meeks, working with former Governor Rauner at the time, and how they took that money, how they said they was gonna do stuff for the community. And Corey Brooks, to this day, and we have a new governor, like, he still hasn't built that community center for the kids that he said he was taking that money for. It's still a sign there saying community center coming soon. Think about how many years that was, with people still listening to him. And that's what it is. And I just feel like that's because churches teach you how to be dependent on the system of church.
Yep.
You know, they don't really teach you that personal relationship with church. Like, and like, I'm not gonna lie, just like most people in trouble, most criminals that reform their life, I had to get a relationship with Christ when I was in jams. Like, I was in, you know what I mean? You know, just to go back to a little bit more of my, like, history. But, like, I was on supervision on 2 states at the same time. Like, so I was, like, definitely prayed up just because I'm trying to get to and fro. Like, with a suspended license, trying to, you know what I mean, driving dirty because I got to get to work and I can't do it. Like, it was a lot, you know, so. And that's really how I got into, like, God over the past 4 years, because I grew up in the church. But, you know, so you know God, and that's the thing. People think knowing God is having a relationship with God. You know what I mean?
It's not just actually knowing about Him.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like when you find out the person you went to school with was crazy and do some crazy stuff, and you be like, man, like, you know of, bro. You know what I mean? Or you know of, sis, but you don't know them. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing. Like, so people are like, oh yeah, I go to church, and then they quick to tell you what church they go to, got the address down packed. You know what I mean? Like, can tell you that the phone number if you need it, the fax number, the email. You know what I mean? They can give you the typical Bible quotes. You know what I mean? I like to call them Bible quotes. You know, the go-to scriptures to let somebody know you know the Bible. And it's like, oh, tell me something besides, you know, okay, tell me what go on in chapter Tell me the scripture before that. You know what I mean? They can't do that. They go, John 3:16. For God so loved the world, He gave His only. I know the word. Like, but what does John 3:17 say?
What it really means? They don't even understand
You
what
know,
it really means. The breakdown, the spiritual understanding of
you know
it.
what I mean? Like, you just read the cliches. When blessings come up, when prayers go up, blessings come down. Like, you know what I mean? They can tell you like all the cliches of church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you know, they not really, and it's not even. I'm not even talking about like the hypocritical aspects of like how most church folks are, but it's just the fact that they're not trained to like really study the word, apply it to your life. Like I tell everybody, my personal people in the Bible, I love King Solomon and I love King David. And you know, everybody, oh yeah, because they was wise and they was kings. I'm like, no, because they was murderers.
Yeah, that's true.
They was murderers and they had a lust for life. They wanted all the women, they wanted everything. And I'm like, I could relate to that. Like on a you know what I mean? Like I know what it's like even now, like I still got a thing for jewelry. Like I'm not like how I once was, but like, and there's nothing wrong with wanting nice stuff because God made it. You know what I mean? If I'm God's child, I deserve nice things, but it's not supposed to be like idolized or worship. You know what I mean?
Yep. That's
like
what
how people, and then that's what make it a sin. Like you look more into the diamonds in the cross and the actual aspect of the cross. You know what I mean? Like you more, and oh man, look at the.
But even wearing the cross is an abomination because we're not supposed to wear things because those are symbols, and it has symbols that has nothing to do with Him.
Yeah.
And you know, people don't think about, and that's the thing.
They don't.
You just said about the church doesn't equip people. That's because the church was never supposed to be established. The temple was always within ourselves. We are the one body.
Once it was supposed to be just a meeting place. That's all.
Yeah,
it was
we're supposed to assemble together. It wasn't supposed to be all like tithing is helping out your brother and sister, not money. Yeah. Because think about it, back then they didn't have cash. No. They didn't have money. They didn't have pastors. So it's like they had prophets.
And they were really like place to place, like, you know what I mean? Like it was kind of like underground like meeting spot, you know what I mean? So it'd be like somebody's house, like somebody kickback, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so it'd be like how anything, and let's break it down into like real world life. Well, if you was to go to your friend's house, you're not going, and you know that it's gonna be a multitude of people, you know what I mean? So y'all gonna need beverages. You know, you go need food after them. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the simple things that you just do. Like, okay, well, if you bring in the cups, you bring in the mustard and ketchup and condiments for the barbecue, I'm going to bring the plates. You know what I mean? It's just like, and that's all the time really supposed to be. Like, we just helping out the people. And then, you know,
coming
what
together.
We got left, coming together. And what we got left, we give out to the community. You know, and that's why Jesus, Yahshua, you know, tore down the temple because they was selling sacrifices.
They was doing what the church is doing now. Think about the churches. They selling dinners. They having different committees. They having all this stuff. That's a sin. It's an abomination, and there's no way around it. And then they wonder why they don't prosper. The problem is why the Most High allowed this stuff to happen is to show people these same buildings that you're depending on, these same churches and pastors stuff you're depending on. Where are they now? Guess who you still have to call out to? You have to call out to me.
Yeah.
Because see, they're not paying your bills, they're not putting a roof over your head, they're not putting food on your table. Guess who you still have to call out for those things? You have to call out to me.
And this is the sure sign of like a person who has a relationship with a pastor more than a relationship with, you know, the Most High. My pastor say, like, you know, like who, or you know, or they made church such a spectacle. They're like, yeah, the pastor preached real good today. Like, yeah, what he preach on? Man, I don't even remember, but I know that sermon was fire. like, man, he was like, he put on a show today, and you know, and that's what it is. It's like, and people really go for that. They go for that feel good, you know. But it's like, where's the meat? Like, you just been in here for 3 hours, and then somebody like, oh yeah, what you word? What was the word on? Oh, it was some John something. I don't know, but I know the pastor was phenomenal.
I know the choir was good.
Yeah, you know, the choir was good. They sang all the joints, all my jams, you know, tore the house down. Sister such and such tore the house down, man. Everybody cried. And then it'd be like, but like, is that really the Holy Spirit? Because y'all was just entertaining. Like, I can listen to some good R&B and like get an emotional state.
Emotional
You know
reaction,
what I mean?
yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, are you really getting a spiritual reaction? Because I'm asking you general questions. Like, if this was a day, like if somebody was asking me where I've been for the past 3 hours, and I'm like, man, I was here. I really couldn't tell you what it was doing. It was cracking though. like
Yeah.
you'll be like, what? Like, yeah. I had on the best suit. You know what I mean? I was in it. I gave about like $300. Man, I feel good. I'm ready for the word. Then somebody cut you off as you telling this in the car. You cussing like, just cut me off. Like,
But see, that's the thing. I remember when I used to go to church, I would sit in church and listen to everything. But then soon it came for like the end, I'd be thinking like, what I'm about to do, I'm about to kick it. Like, we're about to link up. We going to the club. Yeah. And it's like, I shouldn't be sitting there thinking about worldly things if I'm actually getting fed spiritually. And that's when I realized I wasn't getting fed spiritually. It wasn't until this walk when I started getting fed, because I had a direct relationship with the Most High and started talking to him. Then those really desires went away. I wasn't worried about the club and stuff. I was worried about, Father, I need some more meat. I need you to like pour your spirit back on me even more. Like, I need more of you and none of me, all of you. And it's like, that's something that's missing right now. And that's why you get a lot of people when they walk out of Christianity, then they get back in the world and then they lost.
Mm-hmm.
They have nowhere to go.
And then another thing, and I notice it doesn't matter what church, they make the new people feel like it's like high school. Like, you really feel like
you gotta get initiated in.
Yeah, and it's not even just like that was just churches. Like, I've been, because I got homies of all different type of beliefs, and like I had a homie that was a new WAP here, and I went in there and they was just looking at me like, you ain't one of us. And then it's crazy because they was like writing hieroglyphics and stuff, and then I was looking like, yeah, I'm really not one of y'all, bro. Like, I don't know what none of this is. And it's like, you're right, I don't belong here. You know what I mean? Like, I have to dip. I'm not feeling well, bro. I'm about to just go ahead and shake it, G. Like, you know what I mean? I made up all types of, and it's like, you know, and that's where I'm at now. Even when I wasn't as spiritually inclined now as I am, because I'm not saying I'm like the most spiritual or the most knowing, but it's just like now I know my personal relationship that them voices in my head is telling me like, get up out of there. Like, that's the Holy Spirit now. I could honestly say that. Like, now it's like, something told me like, no, that's God talking to me. Like, you know what I mean? And I listen now, you know. And I was telling my god brother, I was telling my cousin, he just got the Bible and started getting his life, you know, towards Christ. He's going through some adversities in his life, and he, you know, and I was telling him, man, you're a winner, bro, because most people could like take the situations you had in your life and like go anti-God and, you know, turn full atheist, like, because that's what quitters do. Quitters, you know, because I told him, like, if you're an atheist or if you're a disbeliever in God or none of this is cool, you know, like, it might be coincidental, but it's not God, or like all of this is just random. However you feel about it, like, it takes more to explain that theory than just to, you know, really understand that this is God's doing. You know, and then that's why, like, you and I have that calm, you know, during this chaos, because it's like, we know we know what's about to happen next, you know, and we're not saying, you know, Yahshua coming back, but, you know, we know that this is the road leading, you know what I mean, we on the road.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all you can do is, like, get people prepared. But even then, you know, I'm not about to persecute nobody because they want to do their thing, you know, because if I do that, that makes me no better than the people who persecute us.
Well, that's in a sense, but it's like we're supposed to righteous judge. And see, that's the part that's the Christianity side where it tells you don't judge nobody. And that's why people are running rampant crazy now, because that's not true. We are supposed to judge, because the thing about it, people take judgment as make it seem like it's so horrible, but judgment, only thing it's doing is correcting you. How can you change and get right if you're not being corrected? If everything that you're doing, and you know, and I know that it's wicked, and I'm telling you, keep on shooting people in their head because that's what you want to do, because I don't want to judge you, but you're killing people, then at some point it's like, I'm going to be held accountable for that. So it's like, that's the problem, is that, and then we need to learn how to do it out of love when we do judge each other, because right now we're in a sense where we're trying to get the Most High to hear us. We need him to hear us. We need him to heal us. We need him to bring us back to him, bring us back as his people, and he be our Father. Because what's to come, we don't want to be. We want to count ourselves fortunate to escape what's coming. Because what's coming, when he strikes, it ain't going to be like how it is right now. That's why I tell people, if you look with the corona, or as they say, the virus, because I know sometimes they have stipulations in it, but with the virus, the Most High doesn't need it to take months for something to hit. If he gonna strike, it's gonna be instant. It's gonna be instantly. And so that's why I said, like, even if you look at the symbolic of what happened, he used one of his own. He let one of his own get killed in this situation for the world to rise up. See, people don't even realize that. That's an example being made. But a lot of people not getting it. We steady focused on, and I'm not trying to be mean, but I could care less about whites, Mexicans, others. I'm care about my people and trying to get my people safe and get them back to the Most High. That's our problem. We always cared about the oppressors and everybody else, and we don't have the house in order. It says Judah has to get it together. But Judah can't even get along. We don't trust each other. We don't like each other. And I always say to it, and I had to check myself about this. How can I say that I care about our people and our lives and stuff, but then I was listening to music that tell you go kill her in? Like, what sense does that make? I can't say that I love my people and I want the white people to stop killing us, but then I'm listening to music that's talking about go ride down on the ops and shoot the ops up. What sense does that make?
And that's another thing I was telling people, like, I'm not one of them people that's sympathizing for the ones that saying, but black people kill black people. But I'm saying we need to stop even having that being a narrative. Like, in order for that to stop being a narrative, we have to stop killing each other.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, we can't be mad because that's a true statement. And that's why we get upset. Because, they're like, no, they're like, it's really the fact that there are blacks killing blacks. And it's a lot. You know what I mean? That's horrible when it's whites killing whites. It's horrible when anybody kills somebody that's a homosexual. We're not saying that any type of hate crime is right. But, we're also the same people that listen and do anything because it's cool. Like, even when we say we're pro-black, we still practice pieces of self-hate.
Yeah, because we'll go get a white man or a white woman or another race and stuff like that, and then say we're so pro.
Blue eyes.
Yeah.
Or
go blonde wigs.
And I'm not saying, and I'm glad you said that instead of me, because I wanted to say it, but I don't want the female community coming after me. You feel me? Like, the female community will come after me and say that I'm all type of names and stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, and it's cool, like, and I'm not saying don't put weave in your hair, but, like, you're not looking like you. You feel me? And that's self-hate. Like, if you want to change yourself to look like another race, and yeah, I know that there is a slim chance of black people having blue eyes and a slim chance of black people having blonde hair, but they know what they're doing. You feel me? And that's what it be. People always make it seem like, when you say something, you trying to, comfort them. And it's like, nah, bro. Like, it's correction. Like, and that's the problem with our generation. You feel me? Like, we're so sensitive to correction that everything is shaming. Everything is shaming. You're shaming me. You're saying that I dress like a slut. You're slut shaming me. We're like, yeah, you got on lingerie outside. Like, so if I'm like, oh yeah, you got on lingerie outside, and I say it in a voice that's like, you look crazy. You know what I mean? Like I'm shaming you, like, because I'm in shock that you're
And
you outside with your underwear and stuff on, like you got your night clothes on outside.
You feel like your whole breast is out, you know, in a see-through shirt, and you looking at me because I'm not like, ooh, I'm looking like, wow, like look at her, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And now what you thought was cool, you know what I mean? Now you realizing how like, oh man, maybe this is a bad idea, and because I'm the one that kicked it off, like I'm shaming you, and it's like, nah, this is you're conflicted, you know what I mean? And I might be the one that makes you feel conflicted, but it's your actions, you know? Like, same thing when, you know, smoking or drinking in front of elders. Like, you know, it was a time when people would, like, oh, man, here comes some old ladies coming down the street. Let me put it up behind my back. Or I'm going to go dip this way. You know what I mean? Now they, you know, throwing it all is out, you know.
Cursing everything. I remember that you wouldn't even curse in front of the elders. You would just be like.
Yeah. And then if somebody did, you'd be like, you'll treat them. You'd be like, man, what is you doing? You know. Now it's like, if you say something like, oh, boy, you a lame, you a goofy. Like, and that's the problem. Like, and that's the gap. Like, we so lost, which is another sign that we are the chosen people. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, like, and there's some people out here that's capitalizing off of people trying to know themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's bogus too. Like, you leading a lot. You know, you going off truth. And then that's how a lot of people, and then even with like, you know, the Black Hebrew Israelites, it's the ones that are like super aggressive. And then, you know, how do you tell somebody that's mixed, you know what I mean, that know they Black, but they mama white, they grandma white, that all white people going to hell and they the devil. You know what I mean? And it's like, and then it's like, bro, like, no, like, I can honestly say that my mom loves me. She loves my friends. She don't be on that. Yo, mama is the devil. And it's like, you just told this man in his face that his whole family the devil, and like God don't love them, and God kind of love him because he got the white man blood in him, and it's like, that's not God's love, bro. You feel
but see,
me?
the thing is, when they do it, the problem is, it's like having a loaded gun and you never shoot before it. So some of the stuff they do be teaching, they are actually correct on, but they was never taught properly how to shoot a gun. So they just go out there, load it, and then they sound crazy. But then they turn around, they go through all that, but then they marry in Mexicans who got white blood in them, and you having mixed children. So it's like, so what are you? And then they say, oh no, they're part of the traps. How are they part of the traps? Like, come on now, all the 12 was Black. All the 12 still is Black.
And that's what I want to get into, because I've been seeing a lot of Hebrew Israelites out here getting Latin Americans involved, saying that the Aztecs and the Mayans and the Olmecs, Africa. And that's how they do it. They be like, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Latin America, Black people, together, 12 tribes. Think about it. And you be like, am I wrong? Is it going over my head? Am I that ignorant that I don't see it? Because it do make you think like, okay, well, you know, the Tainos, they are, you know, indigenous slaves mixed with African slaves. You know what I mean? But it's like,
it goes deeper than that. And that's the problem. I remember when all that stuff was going on, I actually went to the Most High and asked him directly to tell me and to break down everything, the bloodlines and everybody. And what he showed me, I'd rather take what the Most High tell me, who created all things.
Can you tell us? Can you tell me? Tell me. I need to know. I'm for real.
So, okay, I always go back to, people always forget about what happened at the Tower of Babel. So the Tower of Babel is Nimrod days, and they were trying to build a tower because they were trying to go to war with the Most High. They wanted to go into heaven and thought they was going to kill the Most High, which is a joke. It's like, how prideful and dumb could you be? But when you look at people now, they still had that same Nimrod mentality. So because of that, some of the punishment for them was they were scattered. So if you look where the line that Nimrod comes from the line of Ham. And see, people about to get mad about this, but I don't care. So when you look at that, and the thing about they was dispersed, he said that they were scattered across the world, across the earth. So that's why, and he confused their language, and that's why it was called Babel. That area was called Babel because the language was confused, but people were scattered. So if you have these people that scattered across the earth, so yeah, you're gonna have the Aztecs, and they do the same things as the Egyptians did, or you're gonna have the Mayans who did the same thing as the Egyptians. The Native Americans, they all do the same thing as the Egyptians. That's why in all lands there's pyramids, there's different things. Yes, they know the Most High name. Yeah, they can say his name is Yah. Of course they can, because they never not knew who he was. They just didn't like him. What they wanted to do was attack him because they didn't like him. So what they did, they was already, yes, indigenous to the land. So when we were brought because of our punishment and judgment, and we were scattered among the four corners of the earth, guess what? Yes, they were black at some point. Some of them got whited out, but we started mixing with them. Yes, Ham, Shem, and Japheth were brothers. So of course you're going to look like your brothers. You may not look exactly like, but you're going to have some similarity in features. So when we got here and we seen the Native Americans, hey, yeah, they do favor us because we all come from the same family. It's just different branches of the family. So that's why we were able to hide with them. And like we always, in true form, Judah always sleep with the stranger. That's been our thing since the beginning. Even when we was in the wilderness the first time, we got in trouble because the Judah men was lusting after the strangers. So of course, the same thing, Judah men came to America, started sleeping with these Native Americans and stuff. And guess what? You created another mixed race of child. And that keeps going, perpetuating. And then when you sleeping with the white people and doing that too, you get a hybrid. That's how a lot of these races are hybrid races. Yeah. The problem is that they control the narrative. So because they control the narrative, we have less information, or information has been taken out and distorted. But that's what I love about the Most High Yah. In these end times, he's pouring out knowledge. So as much as they try to hide and burn things, it's coming about. And I always say, he said, come to me about everything. Ask him. You ask, you shall receive. So I kept saying, why am I asking everybody else? And if I know these books have been destroyed or distorted, I'm going to ask you directly. The thing is relationship.
And this is it's like I think it's like somewhere of like when the world, like towards the end days, there's gonna be so much knowledge. And that's the internet.
It is. Yeah.
And that's the internet. And I think that's causing, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing too, because it's so much, anybody could just put anything on the internet. And it's people out here, like we said earlier, it's really profiting off of, giving out misinformation.
They profiting off the ignorance of people.
Yeah. And then you read it, and and now you're a reference, and now you building theories and teaching in other people because this goes with what you're saying. And when I was younger, I used to think like, well, I always knew that like the Bible was true. I never was one of the people who doubted like the word of God. I always knew the Bible was true because it's harder to disprove the Bible, to debunk the Bible, than it is to actually say that it's not so. Like every civilization, and if you take college mythology or philosophy, they'll tell you they all have like, they're saying the same stuff as the Bible.
Yeah.
It's just a different
different
point
names,
of view.
Different twist on it.
And it's a different point of view. And that's all it is. Like all of the great flood stories are talking about Noah.
Yep.
It's just different points of view from where they were, because they were already split up at this point from the Tower of Babel. You know what I mean? So they already.
And they took their gods with them, the gods that they were worshiping with them.
Yeah. And that's why there's so many similarities between gods, And that was because that was one thing I was wondering, like, why everything so connected? Besides the pyramids, which are like, actual physical evidence that, everything was connected, because they're only making 3 types of pyramids. They're making mound pyramids, they're making step pyramids, or they're making, I forgot the third one. it's only those type of pyramids. You know what I mean? And they all telling the same stories, and they all got the thing with the serpent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's crazy. And I don't know. It's just like it all makes sense. Like, I'm not saying Illuminati, but they do have actual groups that exist that are like hundreds and thousands of years old, or like names of like Circle of the Serpent. You know what I mean?
Those things are real.
And they like got Anunnaki and Sumerian texts that they, you know what I mean, worship. So I believe that like all of this stuff, and I've had people in fraternities and Masonic orders that are supposed to be Christians, like trying to get me to join.
So that's another topic right there.
like so it all ties into something, you know what I mean? And like I remember when I was in college, I thought about pledging a frat, and I was online, and it was an underground line, and you know, I got into it with them because my grandmother passed, and they like, oh man, that's messed up, but we still need you to bring the drinks to the meeting. I'm like, nah, bro, my grandmother like just passed. Like, I'm at the hospital.
They say that you're supposed to be, everything's supposed to be above. Yeah, that's how they are.
You know,
they literally.
and I'm like, yeah, and then they like, well, you know, and that's how it was. It was like, you know, we understand about your grandma, but
we're your brothers.
Yeah, and we, you know, this is a fraternity meeting, and you know, you're pledging. So, you know, if I were you, I would try to swing through. Like, you know what I mean? Like trying to lure the fraternity over my, like, the death of my grandma. And I'm like, nah, blood, I'm not going to see you today, but when I do see you, we boxing. And like, and like, I really got on that. I was on that with them for a while. But
see, that was protection, though. That was protection of the Most High, because you're not supposed to take an oath. We're not supposed to take an oath. We're not supposed to do those things. And that's the thing, you made a good point. How do you be in a church practicing Freemasonry or any fraternity that basically is built off, if you look at the history, it's built off of idol gods?
And then going back to the fraternities, once you get into the fraternities and like you learn that everything has like a meaning behind it, and there are no like coincidences, and every symbol means something. And then once you go a little deeper, you realize the true meaning behind those symbols. Like a lot of fraternities and sororities, when they take oaths to altars, and they don't know, because they like neophytes, that they actually take an oath to Satan, you know, Satan or demons, when they worship these different Greek gods, which are really Egyptian gods. You know what I mean? And that's another way that they get, fraternities get you to get, because they like, oh, even though we Greek, we really Egyptian, we pro-black, you know. And then but it don't matter, because the Greek gods and Egyptian gods are the same gods, just different names.
And you know, and the crazy thing about it is, I gotta send you the video that the Issachar couple they did about the fraternity, and they broke it down to the signs and symbols. They even
send me that.
Yeah, and they even did a march where they went to Washington D.C. and went to denounce those covenants and those oaths that our forefathers made, getting into these fraternities and getting into Freemasonry and stuff. So it was real deep. I'm definitely sending, and I'm also linking on here as well. Yeah. But it's crazy, like people do that, and they literally, it's like, it's worship. It is worship.
And there's nothing wrong, you know. Well, it is something wrong with joining fraternities, right? Yeah. But it's nothing wrong with wanting to help your community, and that's how they get you, because you're young, you're vital, you're 18, 17, 19, 20, 21, you just getting a piece of freedom, you know what I mean? You think you know something, they giving you knowledge. So to you, and then, you know, you easily impressionable. So like in your mind, and it's crazy because like now looking back, like all of the promises that they tell you that you will get when you join fraternities, you be living a regular life. Like, I know people who, excuse me, who are in fraternities and sororities, and they live just as normal, just as good of lives as people who who are not, and who have God. You know what I mean? Like, So it's like, man, where's the promise of this 8-figure job? Like, because if you look around, and all you got to do, if you live anywhere and they got the fraternity plates, they got regular cars. Like, they're not, you don't see no AKA symbols on no Maybachs or no Rolls Royces.
Yeah.
They got regular cars that's feasible, that you can get with or without a college degree. You know what I mean? Like,
you actually do
they
better
never,
without a college degree nowadays.
you know what I mean? Yeah, you feel me? Like, and that's what it is. Like, now people will figure it out how to jumpstart. You know, it was once, you know, and that's how they get you with the, you know, when the market was little and they were the only ones in, and they could actually, like, well, you know, I got somebody who worked over in Kansas. He one of the brothers or she one of the sisters. I could tell her that you a sister and you trying to apply, and they could get you in there. But now it's like, I got a good resume, or I'm highly qualified, you know what I mean? And none of that matters. Is, you know, and it's like, another thing, even when I was online, I was like, man, I'm really not even to the whole jumping and doing. They like, oh yeah, everybody, when you cross the burning sands, you know, you gotta go through the. I'm like, man, this not even me. Like, oh, it's the ritual. You know, like, and then, you know, they just keep using ritual, and then it's like, you know, once you look at it now, it's like, man, what is this? It looks odd because it's not of this world.
It ain't. Yep,
You know
it's
what I mean?
wicked.
And then
You know,
that's why, like, and I hate to use the term, but like, real N words, I always looked at it like, that fraternity sorority stuff ain't for me. Like,
yeah.
and it wasn't like they felt cooler, but it was just like,
The Most High covered them.
Yeah, you know.
Them. That's what it was. It was
and
protection and covering.
And God bless babies and foods. You know what I mean? It gives what we would consider, you know, and that's how they do that. And then they feel like they're chosen. Like, a lot of fraternities and sororities, they have like this air about them, like, oh, I've been chosen. I'm a part of this elitist group that, you know, but that's like how the secret societies and the cults are today. Like, you know, like, they call people that's not a part of them, like, goyim. Like, that's a, you know what I mean? That's a Yiddish term for, like, you know, like, riffraff. Like, so how are you
look
supposed
at
to
it,
be?
it's all the same. You look at it from sororities to fraternities to church. They all are groups of people with the air that's still not giving what? Still not giving true praise to the Most High. It's an organized group.
And anything that tells you, like, they can make you a better person, you know what I mean, that's not of God, because only God can make you a better person. You know, Freemasonry, they tell you we make good men better. You know, that's their little frame. Zetas, they say they make good women better. You know what I mean? That's very similar. You know what I mean?
The Hebrew camps say the same thing, because they can make people better. And
you know what I mean? Like, well, the alphas, many are called, few are chosen. You know, that's also a Masonic term. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, it's a lot of Masonic fraternity, sorority connections. Eastern Star. It's a 5-point star that looks like Baphomet, but it's also, and this is what I realized one day, it's each of the colors of the star. Each point of the color of the star is actually like a color of a fraternity or sorority.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. Like, so it's like a lot of stuff, and it's crazy because I be just looking at stuff, and stuff just be coming. It just be coming.
That's the Holy Spirit. That's the Mwanda and Semi. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I be just looking like they don't know, like, and you could tell the ones, because I knew before I got with my lady, I was messing with this chick, and like, AKA was her life, like that, and her being a vice principal, like, that was like who she was. Like, if you ask her a description of her, like, I'm a vice principal. Yeah, like, and then they go by like years. Like, Cause my homegirl, she was a Delta, and like I guess she was like only like a Delta for like 4 years. So like the chick was like, oh yeah, well she don't know nothing because she's only 4 years old and in this Greek lifestyle, and I'm 13 years old. You know, and I'm like, what? I'm like, no, you're 33. Like you talking about you 13, and then and then I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I've been made. And then I'm like, y'all sound like a real gang. Like you've been made. Like that's what mobsters say. Like mobsters,
Yeah, you've
even in
been
the movie,
made.
they like, they be like, man, I can't wait to be made. As soon as I get made, you know what I mean? And then that's when you realize like it's levels being in the fraternity and sororities. Like I used to think, being made is like when you cross. Like, no, you just like entry level. And it's set up just like Freemasonry.
Yeah.
Well, like, okay, you could be a first level degree, which is like an entered apprentice. So that means like, okay, now you can come to the meetings and stuff. You know what I mean? And then you go to the second degree. And then your third degree, that's when you're a master mason. And that's how you get, and it's the same way where like the neophytes, the prophytes, then it's like the big brothers, you know what I mean? But it's levels and rituals to get to all of that, you know what I mean? Like
levels, yeah.
Yeah, and then, like, and then they ritualize each, same thing, like each degree or each position, like, they got the worshipful master, then they got the Eastern Warden, the North Warden, the South, how they do with the Masons. They got like, that's how you do their secretaries too.
Yeah.
And then it's a breeder. Black fraternities, all fraternities are breeders and steps before you actually join Freemason. I know homie, and then the masonry is connected to the military. Like I know homies that get like handpicked, like, and that's what it is. Like I got a homie, yeah, and then like he just thinking like they got a regular base, but then like next thing you know, like some older niggas, like some older people was like, yeah, we want to make you one of the brothers. We got a lodge on base, and they like a real Masonic, chartered, recognized Masonic organization on a military base. And now he out the military because his term is over, and he's what you consider traveling in the dark because he doesn't have a lodge.
Wow.
And then, and then I got a homie that is a Mason now, and I just found out, and it blew my mind because I'm like, dude, you a Mason? And he like, yeah, bro. I'm like, man, I've been knowing you since high school. Like, how long you been a Mason? Like, man, I've been traveling for like 3-4 years now. I'm like, really? Like, but it's so secret. Like, you really never know. Like,
yeah, and that's how they be. Because I remember that happened to me. Like, my ex, his mama was trying to get me to become an Eastern Star. She had me come to the meetings and stuff, trying to get me to start the process. But I'm like, I'm not about to pay no money. See, I'm too cheap. I'm not about to pay no money. I ain't about to do that. I'm not about to bow down to nobody, nothing.
Yeah, man. They got some dudes and all that. And I'm like, man, this sounds like another bill, like for nothing. But I'm about to show you something. Me and my girl, we was walking today. Going for walks, talking in the neighborhood. And I'll show you what I saw on my light bulb today.
It's frozen. Hello?
Huh?
There you go. Yeah, they have these symbols everywhere. Wow.
This is a light bulb.
Wow. They literally put their symbols everywhere.
But what caught my attention, because I was like, why is this light bulb? I was turning around. I was like, why is this light pole concrete? Like, I've never seen a concrete light pole before. Like, why is it on the corner of my block? So I'm looking, and then I'm looking down, and then it looks like it's a capstone.
like it's not like how the rest of the light poles are. You know, they actually have like it looks like obulus with the light attached to it. You probably can't see it, but
so I wonder if they put like the 5G stuff on there.
I don't know.
Because they've been doing that a
But
lot too, putting up these new ones, these new posts.
Yeah. But that's crazy,
so
right?
They let
like,
you know who owns the block and who owns everything. They put their symbols. I never forget, like in my old building I lived in. One day I just stopped and I looked in the lobby because everybody started talking about the lobby was so pretty. And then one day I just looked in the lobby and I seen they literally had everything. They had the checkerboard. Didn't even realize the checkerboard was all throughout the lobby. They had gargoyles. They had the 5-point stars. They literally had all this stuff all over the building. And I'm like, no wonder I'm suffering in this building. No wonder, like, I'm having nightmares and stuff.
And that's how a lot of what they call the like historic Chicago buildings look like. Like I do a lot of extra work with like TV and stuff, and was doing some show, and we were at Union Station, and they're all like, "Oh, Union Station, you know, they're famous for like the ceiling, and it's nothing but like Masonic
stuff all over." Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you look and you can tell how old it is because it's crazy because it's nothing new under the sun. It's just coming back out because if this is supposed to be like 100-year-old building and this was in the 1900s and all this Masonic stuff now, we're in the 21st century, 2000 something.
You know, they go back to Solomon's Temple though.
Yeah. That's real.
It goes. And they have their own Bible. They have their own Bible, everything, and it's just like the devil's Bible. That's what's so crazy. If you ever get a chance to get a hold of their Bible, it's just like Satan's Bible. And they really they snap out. They'd kill you if you try to touch that Bible.
Yeah, when I was younger, I found my grandmother's Eastern Star Bible, but they still have a Masonic Bible too.
Mm-hmm.
And man, like she seen me with it. She said, "Did you ever read that?" And then, but she got out of it and everything. And then that's how, like, my whole life, I've always heard like old people say like, "That's devil worship. That's devil worship." But I've never understood, you know, what they're talking about. But these are like people, you know, like before the internet. Like I was hearing this back in like the 90s. You know, like you know, she was, you know, stay away from that Mason stuff. Don't do it. They try to tell you they be about some stuff. They don't be about. They about the devil. You just be listening, like, cause you young and you don't know much. And then as I got older with technology and you know the whole Illuminati thing and you know Masonry, so you start to realize it. And then you just look back as a kid, like, oh yeah, I just thought this shit was weird. I just thought stuff was weird. You didn't even know that.
All these churches. Look at all these churches. Majority of these churches are either have Masonic pastors who are who are Masons, or the pastors
or fraternity. Yeah.
So people wonder why the church is destructive. It's because you are based on the foundation of Satanism.
Yeah, and then they get you, and this is how they get you, because they tell you about Christianity, and they tell you like, or they tell you that all you got to do is just believe in a God, and you know what I mean. But I seen like I was saying about my two homies, we was all together, and this is when I found out they was Masons, because when we found out that my other homie was Mason, we looking at the bumper, and we like, man, you know, how long you been a Mason? And then that's when I found out my other homie, he was a Mason in the military, and then they like shook up like a whole like Mason handshake, like but they're whispering Islamic stuff to each other, like.
So now you're going to the point of the one world religion, and that's why it's important to know the name, and that's why it's important to have a relationship, because what they're doing right now is they're putting this one world. So you have Christianity, Islam, Jehovah's Witness, you have Buddhism, you have Kabbalism. They mix all these religions. Think about it. Everybody say
coexist.
God now.
That's what it's about. Coexist.
And everybody say God now. And that's why I always say it's important to know the name and start using the name, because when the Antichrist come back, he's coming in the name of Jesus and God. And think about it. Everybody speaks the same thing and everybody say the same thing. Satan always wanted to recreate what happened back at Babel. He always wanted to bring that back. That's why we had the internet. So even though we may not be able to speak the same language, we all can read the same thing. Is what even on Google they have multiple translators. People don't even realize how deep that goes with the translation. Satan always tried to imitate what the Most High did, and also try to go against what the Most High has done as judgment. That's what Satan does. So when they whisper those things and stuff, and I say it's funny, if you look at it, even from us, all the people that put us into slavery are the same religions that we all follow. The Nation of Islam, not the Nation of Islam, Muslims. The Arab slave trade, they're the ones who initiated kicking us off into the transatlantic slave trade. Then you got the Christians that did it too. A lot of us came on the ships in the Caribbean of Jesus, the boat Jesus.
And the Jews too.
They stole our whole history. So it's like when you look at it, and now they all coexist, and we seeing what's coming and what's happening. That's why it's such an urgent need to try to bridge the gaps and bring our people back and know who their heritage is. Realize that that book, that Bible, is our heritage. It's our book, and that we
and that's all it takes.
The Most High Yah and know who He is.
And it's important that you said that, because if you read the Bible, and I tell everybody that always question like the identity of Christ, and just like, bro, just read the Bible. Common sense would say like, I'm black, so if I'm in hiding, I'm not going to Italy. I'm not going to Switzerland. You know what I mean? I'm going to Egypt. I'm going where I blend in. And also, for him to fled to Egypt, they had to be in Africa. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't have means of mass transportation for them to be in Europe and then take a transatlantic flight to, you know, so they had to be.
And you think about it, where do black people always migrate? Where we always come from? We always come from the South. And when we leave the South and we trying to flee the South, what do? We migrate north. You look at it. So if Issachar, or who we call Christ, was in Congo and he fled to Egypt to hide, he did what? He fled north. It's like symbols that the Most High leaves, like they said, breadcrumbs. I remember when the Issachar couple talked about breadcrumbs. The Most High leaves breadcrumbs all around for us to follow, and the patterns have never changed. Throughout history, we never changed our pattern. We may not understand and remember, but our patterns never changed.
And where did John baptize Joshua? What river was that?
The Jordan.
And where is the Jordan River currently located in?
The real Jordan is in the south.
Yeah. But what they tell us, it's the Middle East, but that's Africa.
They tell us the Middle East, it's not.
It's Africa.
Yeah.
Is that? You know what I mean? But, and that's why they call it the Middle East, because it's just a chunk of land like the Gaza Strip. You can see, from the Gaza Strip, you can see the Egyptian pyramids. So it lets you know how close it is. They just put it to the media that Africa is a subcontinent, and then they try to word it where like Egypt not even really a part of Africa. It's just it just happens to be in Africa, but it has nothing to do with Africa.
Yeah.
You know. And it's like
even with changing to the stuff, they were so petty. Like when they changed the Nile River. The Nile River wasn't even the name. And even if you look, I remember I did because Truth, I think it's Truth Unrevealed 777. He did one where he said, go on Google, and he gave like landmarks to check on Google. And when you see that river, it's like Zambia River. It literally goes from the south of Africa all the way to Egypt. And it shows you even the so it was the Middle East and it was that close. Why did we wander for 40 years?
Yeah.
It don't make sense. But now if you're coming from south and you walking and stuff like that, and then you're circling around, it makes more sense. But again, they always had stuff from us. And the guy who made the maps, people don't realize the guy who made the maps, he actually said he was a wizard. And what did he do? He chanted and did a seance to call on the fallen angels to teach him how to make a map. And that's how we got maps today. So that's why I said we trust the stuff that they give us.
Send me that too.
I'm gonna send you that, yeah.
Yeah, that's deep. Yeah.
They want us to trust everything.
I believe it because you gotta think about, with the Dogon and how they had like the whole solar system. They never went into outer space, so Europeans want us to believe. So how were they able to draw Orion's belt? And how were the Egyptians able to line up you know, the pyramids with Orion and the constellations.
Fallen.
So it gotta be the fallen, because they the only ones that know.
Because they never died.
Because God was telling us to stay away from that type of stuff.
And think about it, like you said, nothing new under the sun. And what's going on right now? Everybody is either in Egyptology, this Orisha spirituality, worshiping the fallen angels. It's the same thing that happened then.
Ancestors, worship your ancestors.
Yeah, ancestor worship.
Worship, and it's like, because I knew a young lady who was into that, and she used to always be like, yeah, she was one of the people that felt that they were like extra pro-black. You know what I mean? Like so black, like my parent, I'm spiritually all connected to everything. One of those. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong. Excuse me. You know, feeling you got like a spiritual thing, but you can't open your spirit up for everything. You know, saying that you spiritual, because it's like, you know, she's like, oh yeah, I grew up in church my whole life. My grandfather was a pastor and all of that. So like, you know, of God, but she started this ancestor worship because her boyfriend, his family was into that.
Yeah.
So now she got like comfortable. Well, we've been around so long, been together so long, 4 years. So now I'm introducing that to my children. It's like, but this not even like your religion, like, because you come from believing in God, you know, and now you like talking bad about God, talking about Jesus. How do you know Jesus? Like, and that be the thing with me. Like, people get introduced to new religions, and I know about the name, and I'm really working on like getting used to saying the name Yahshua and all of that. It's just, you know, I'm 32, so it's just a habitual thing.
I'm gonna tell you like this. It's all about relationship.
Yeah, hold on. Let me finish with it, and then but like when people say that they don't, or they just give up on God, like regardless what name you call them, and how can you like question what's been keeping you good your whole life up until this point when you decided that you needed to change? You know what I mean? And it's like you grew up in church, but you knew that it was more spiritual. You feel me? So you reach more spiritual, but you still have, like, it's not like you not believing in Jesus no more. It's not, you feel what I'm saying? You just got a close relationship to Jesus where you know his real name and everything. You feel me? But it's people out here that like grow up praying to Jesus, praying to God, getting them out of trouble, supplying all of their needs and everything. And then all of a sudden somebody introduced, or they get a piece of information, and now they're like down in God. You know what I mean? And I just feel like that's the blasphemy. That's when I couldn't, and like at that moment she went from like looking like, because I was like, man, she cool, she dope, she beautiful. And then after that, I just like, she just looked like disgusting to me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you lost. Like, and it's like you don't even want help because you know you just true, and that's the true blasphemy. You feel me? Like it's some people who could really say that they never known God. You know what I mean? So they really can't blaspheme because they don't know nobody. But it's the blaspheme when you do know. Like okay, it's kind of like this. Like, your mama always told you can't fight everybody that call her out her name because they don't know her. But your mama would be mad if you or somebody that y'all knew called her out her name, right? It's the same thing when you blaspheme against God. Like, God is upset, and that's why it's the ultimate sin, because it's like you know me and you disrespecting me. Like, I can't be mad at somebody who don't know me talk about me, because my first thing is I don't even know these people.
But that's the thing, though. But that's the thing. How do you know that they actually know him? Just because they know of him, that's the problem. People know of him, but do they really know him? Because if you know of him and you have a real relationship with him, you're not going to do that because of fear and respect.
Absolutely. That's true.
So that's the thing. A lot of people say they know him just because they grew up in the church or have family members that's pastors and stuff. that means absolutely nothing if they don't know him personally. So that's why they get easily persuaded to enter these other things. And that's the problem, religion.
Yeah.
If we can get up out of religion and actually have a relationship.
Yeah. And then I would, it's just certain things that just don't feel right in your spirit either. Like, I went to a more science funeral.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's different.
Yeah, I got people of all types. like my network is like crazy. Like people I come across, and like so I'm there, and as the funeral was going on, the casket like had did like a 360 around the. You know what I mean? Like they moved it like north, south, east, west.
That's not like a Masonic one. That's what the Masons do at their funerals.
Exactly. Then, of course, I did some research. Apparently, more science got a little Freemasonry in it.
Mm.
And that's part of the science.
Okay.
Yeah. And apparently, 5%ers got a little bit of more science in it. And apparently, Nation of Islam got a little bit of more science in it. And apparently, they all come from Freemasonry.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna stop it right there because we're giving a lot of nuggets right now, and I think this is a call to have another part 3. Because definitely, like you said, start doing like weekly conversations like this to bridge the gap.
Because people, they reaching for answer, they reaching for knowledge, but they don't know that it's all coming from like the Babel. Tower Babel,
Mm-hmm.
Everybody got different stories. Like I just went through Freemasonry, fraternities, everything, and it all tied into
the same
the teachings of Babel.
Yeah, that's
so so we definitely got to keep it going.
Yeah, and I'm gonna still talk to you after this, but I'm gonna just to let everybody know, I'm gonna put his information for his channel in the description box as well, and hopefully everyone enjoyed this part 2, and we definitely gonna come back with a part 3 and start doing this more often, because this is something that we do need to have everyone come together. We need to bring our people back together. We need to get Judah House back in order. And this week we're gonna be doing like a lot of different things. We're gonna be tackling a lot more. Also, sometime this week, me and some sisters are gonna come together and tackle on how to heal from abuse and molestation. So this week we got some heavy topics coming for our people, because we're tired of talking about it. We got to start putting in the footwork to do it. So I just thank everybody for tuning in to this one, and we definitely gonna come back with a part 3.
For sure. And send me them links too.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. All right, for sure.